in New York City. Great crowd gathered. I got to say, seems like there's more Nittany Lions than Wolverines.
That's because he brought them all out. He taunted them. That's what you do. You taunt the Nittany Lions fans, they come out.
I didn't taunt those guys. They're out here waiting for me. They're very thick.
It's a sign of respect, right?
Boo, Penn State.
Pleased to have Jimmy King joining us now. Jimmy, when you think about the Fab Five, which in my mind really kind of revolutionized college basketball in so many ways, and obviously Michigan basketball was great before the Fab Five, but I think when people think about the Wolverines, that might be the first group that they think about. How often does it come up in your day-to-day life?
It comes up every single day, and people pay attention to Michigan basketball. That wasn't always the case, but there's some history there. We got some great teams from back in the 60s, mid-'80s, early 80s. With us coming around, we came after the team that won the championship,
right.
Glenn Rice and that crew. So there's some history there. And I know Michigan typically is known as a football school, and I'm glad that we have Jim Harbaugh. But, we also got some great basketball. And that was one of the driving forces for us. It was like, let's put this basketball program back on the map because I think people forget about it.
You think about some of the programs, and I look at the Running Rebels, the UNLV Running Rebels, the Phi Slamma Jamma days, and then the Fab Five. I mean, those are three teams that throughout history really epitomize swagger. And what I want to know is who on that team brought it out the most?
That's a tough one because everybody had their own kind of style.
Yeah.
We all had our own swag. I think Jalen is probably the one who gets the most credit because he was the most boisterous. But behind the scenes, I probably held that team up the most.
You're telling me it wasn't Rob Pelinka?
Rob's another one. Rob is a good locker room guy.
He's at least got it going on now.
We had Chip Armour.
Yep.
Yeah, we had Eric Riley. We had Mike Talley. We had a bunch of guys on that team that lift us up.
What do you think the legacy of that group is?
I think the legacy of the group is more than anything. I think it's more for the love of the game. I think people recognize that we have fun. We went about it in a manner that there is no way that we as kids can work that hard and not be successful. So I think they can correlate to that, and they can see that. So I think our biggest legacy would be that we were flashy, we had a lot of showtime, but there was substance there. Even though we didn't win a Big Ten championship or we didn't win a national championship, with us being so young, we still were able to, put a good product on the floor, and I think people appreciate that.
Timmy, I want to talk about coaching and I think this translates to today. Coaches require a certain amount of structure. But at the same time, to get the most out of their players, they got to allow for some level of individuality and freedom of expression, all that. Steve Fisher clearly gave you guys a lot of rope. Is that something you see more and more or less and less of in today's game?
Well, I don't know because I'm not there every day in practice. However, I think that as a coach, that's a tricky line that you have to kind of balance at the walk. And the thing about Steve Fisher, what I love about him is that he took a lot of heat for starting us.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate him for giving us a good chance. That's
How
right.
dare he? What
How
was
dare
he
he start
thinking?
5
What
young
was he
kids at the University of Michigan. But no, I really appreciate that. And it's a tough situation. I mean, you got kids that won it at Kentucky, a few years ago, but people don't even talk about them being freshmen.
Right. Well, I mean, it's so different now, right? I mean, you guys were the trailblazers in that sense. I mean, to go to 2 straight championship games with this young team. Now, in this one-and-done era, I mean, I think you come to expect it, particularly from the elite programs. You were talking about coaching and today and making those comparisons. What do you think of the system that John Beilein runs? It's very different, obviously, from what you guys
love that system. I wish I could go back 20 years,
Why?
25
He's
years
starting to
now.
sound like me. He's starting to sound like me.
Yeah, I get out there and shoot a little bit and, get out and get on some breaks and some dunks because I love the way they play. He has an unconventional style. The knock on him is that he doesn't have big men who rebound. He has big men that shoot. He has guards that dribble a lot. They like to shoot a lot of threes. Well, if you're successful doing that and that's your philosophy, that's what you're teaching, and the kids go into the games believing and buying into that system, then, that's what you do. And me as a player coming up in high school, I would love to play in that system.
You watched the game today, and we have so many rule changes this year. We really showcase that every single game we do, watching the rule changes and seeing how it's affected the game. Do you think it's better for the game or worse for the game as we do this freedom of movement, calling a little more fouls, trying to clean things up? I think it's getting a little closer to the NBA game, which I think is good.
I think it's good because, like now, when I teach my kids, when I go see my kids play, I teach them that they have to be able to handle the ball or be comfortable with the ball any position on the floor. So whether you're a center or a point guard, if you catch the ball in the post, you got to know how to play with your back to the basket. If you catch the ball 25 feet from the basket, you got to know how to see the floor, make good passes, make good decisions. You become a ball handler. So the way that the game is transitioned now, I like it. And I think that, I think the whole world is evolving as far as the level or the style of the way that the game is played.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Right now I'm in transition. What I was doing recently as a financial advisor or planner in Detroit. And then I went into the car business and finance at Lexus. And I recently just left them, so right now I'm in transition. So if you're hiring, let me know.
How much does the Fab Five travel with you? I mean, Jimmy King, to me, it just says Fab Five. And when you're out and about in the real world, how much does the Fab Five go with you?
Every day. And I appreciate it because it makes me feel good. People think that, don't you get tired of that? People come up to you and, you're eating dinner, you're with your friends and family. I'm like, no. I mean, that's a sign of endearment. They actually appreciate and love what we did. So I appreciate that, and I love to get that love back. If for someone that want to take their time out today for me to sign a piece of paper or take a picture, sure, no problem.
How often are you in touch with those guys? Kind of on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis? How often one of your teammates reach out to you?
Actually, lately, it's been about every week. And that's because right now I'm organizing a symposium at the University of Michigan with my colleague, Yago Colas, who's a professor upper writing level at the University of Michigan. So he's my partner academically. I do some guest lecturing there. So we're putting together a symposium because it will be 25 years this year to talk about putting those banners back up.
All right. Well, Jimmy King, thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Absolutely.
I assume you're going to the game tomorrow. Enjoy that. And again, we very much appreciate it.
That's right. Go Blue, beat Penn State.